there. So today I was going to just talk about random stuff throughout my lifetime, random little stories. Doesn't really pertain to the military, but since I have a ton of military photographs throughout my time in the Army and a few pictures as a civilian before I joined the Army, I'm just going to have that flashing in the background and when I tell these random life events, whether they deal with the military or not. But today I wanted to talk about something that had popped up in my head the other day and had me kind of laughing and giggling to myself. It was about my grandma, and on my mother's side, and one of my little cousins. My grandma was just this old school, no holds barred, beat the crap out of you type grandma. There was no hesitation. She wouldn't hesitate to beat the crap out of any of us, any of the grandchildren. But my mother told me when she grew up that my grandmother was really I don't know if I want to say hostile or violent, but she would beat the crap out of them the same, even more so. And for minor infractions in the house, break a glass, break a dish, maybe get some Clorox on some clothes, just some random stuff that I can remember my mother telling me. So growing up, I knew not to screw with my grandma. I knew if grandma said something, you better move. There wasn't no telling you a second time. It was hitting you with the sandal, hitting you with the belt, hitting you with the broom, hitting you with her hand, digging her nails into you. Just, my grandma did not play. I knew out of all the family members in my family, I knew that my grandmother was to be feared. So I have a cousin. He's probably in his early 30s now. I'm 36, so I had him about a few years. And there's two events with this cousin, and his name was Daniel. And I remember one of the funniest things that had ever happened during my childhood, and I remember it clearly, was we were about to go somewhere with my grandma. I don't remember where we were going to go, but it was me and some of my other cousins, probably about a total of 4 or 5 of us. And someone stepped in dog crap, and my grandma, she smells it and I can smell it too. I'm probably like 4 or 5 years old, and my cousin Daniel, he's probably about 2. He's still wearing a diaper, so he's in that age, but he can talk. He can barely talk. And but Daniel's oldest brother was like he was older than us by a few years, all of us, and he was probably born in like 1977, so he had us by maybe 3 or 4 years. So he was like the cool guy in the 80s of all of our cousins. So this time frame I'm talking about is probably about 1984. And my older cousin, his name was Louis, and anything he did or anything he said, we always tried to emulate. He was always that cool guy that was ahead of the curve. And he had a saying, though, because all of us little cousins, we always liked being around him, hanging around him. And I guess we'd get on his nerves or something, and he would always say, "Behave, man." That was his saying. "Behave, man." And so anyways, fast forward to the event where my grandma, we're in the car and we're about to take off, and my grandma, she smells his dog shit. And my grandma spoke English, but she spoke Spanish was her primary language. And so she gets, right instantly she's hostile. She's hollering in the car, who the hell stepped in dog crap? Who the hell stepped in dog crap? It stinks in this car. Get out right now. And she stops the car. We're on the way out of the driveway. We're halfway in the street, and she pulls off her damn sandal. She's ready to attack us. She's ready to attack us, and we haven't even done anything besides someone stepped in some dog crap. So she starts yanking us out. She yanks me out, by the arm like I'm, some fugitive or something. She yanks me out, and she checks the bottom of my shoes, and she pushes me to the side, and she yanks out my other older cousin, and same thing. Pushes her to the side, yanks out the next cousin, and pulls her to the side. There's 3 cousins sitting in the vehicle still. My little cousin Daniel and 2 other little boy cousins. I was just a little older than at the time. So Daniel, like I said, he's about 2 or 3, and he can barely talk, but he can say a few phrases. And my grandma pulls Daniel out next, and he's only wearing a diaper and little sandals. And as my grandma's yanking him out of the car, he yanks his arm away from my grandma, and he says, "Behave, man." And we all knew instantly all hell was going to break loose. And sure enough, you know, she snaps and scoffs at him in Spanish. "Yo te doy tu behave, man." You know, basically she's saying, "I'm gonna give you your freaking behave, man. I'm gonna teach you now." So she yanks him out, you know, and just starts wailing on him, you know, beating the crap out of him. But I guess we were different back then, little 80s kids. We were used to it. And, you know, he starts crying a little bit. You know, no big deal. She takes his sandals off. I don't even think I think she took him, threw him in the car. I mean, threw him in the yard and just threw him in the car and all of us in the car, and she ushered us on to wherever we were going. But that was it, you know, a short story of my hostile grandma. You know, fast forward, probably about 2003, I was going to deploy to Iraq, and as I grew older, my grandma calmed down with us. We were more mature. She didn't have to beat the crap out of us. So I joined the Army in 2000, and it's about time for me to go to we're deploying to Iraq, and my grandma was real sick. I can't remember exactly what she had anymore, but before I deployed, you know, we said our goodbyes. You know, I'd been in the Army a few years already, maybe 3 years, and you know, we talked a little bit, and she said, "Well, Edward, I'm sick, I'm old. By the time you come back, I might not be around anymore." So we said our goodbyes, we made our pieces, and sure enough, she did pass away probably about 3 or 4 months before I came back from Iraq. I deployed probably late 03 and came back sometime in 05. But it was just a random story. I have another story I'll tell in another little video of my rambunctious grandmother. All right, guys, you got any comments, leave them behind, because I'm sure everybody has a hostile grandparent somewhere here or there.